This is Twit.
This episode of iFive for the iPhone is brought to you by Blue Apron. Blue Apron will send you all of the ingredients to cook fresh, delicious meals with simple step-by-step instructions right to your door. See what's on the menu this week and get your first 2 meals free by going to blueapron.com/twit. That's blueapron.com/twit. Welcome to iFive for the iPhone, episode 153. iFive covers the latest iPhone apps, tips, and tricks, and of course news. I'm Megan Maroney, and I am ready for a road trip. Are you? It's summertime in this hemisphere, and if you haven't already piled your friends or loved ones into a hot car and forced them to play on their individual iPhones or iPads for hours on end while you hit the open road, then what are you waiting for? Let's face it, road trips are not what they used to be, especially with navigation apps. And I'm not talking about how navigation apps make things easier. Often they make the trip much harder. I was recently on a vacation with my sister and I had 3 apps going at once and they were all telling me to go in different directions. So I decided to make it my mission to find the best navigation app. So here's what I learned about 5 of the most popular navigation apps for your iPhone. Number 1, Apple Maps. Apple Maps is the navigation app baked directly into your iPhone. It has turn-by-turn spoken navigation, real-time traffic information to calculate your ETA, and it integrates with my Apple Watch to give me a little tap on my wrist when it's time to turn. This is a great feature if you're used to driving around in a minivan full of loud 12-year-olds. It used to be that Apple Maps regularly gave inaccurate directions and Google Maps was my go-to, but that's not so true anymore. And as soon as iOS 9 is released in the fall, Apple Maps will also include public transportation directions, which has been useful for train, bus, and subway users who've been using the beta of iOS 9. For the record, Google Maps already has a public transit guide. Apple uses navigation pioneer TomTom for local information, as well as companies like Digital Globe, TripAdvisor, Waze, and others. Earlier this year, Apple minivans were spotted and thought to be prototypes of an Apple car, but they were just collecting more map data. Apple Maps is also the only navigation app that works with Siri. Apple Maps comes preloaded with your iPhone, and you can't get rid of it, so if phone storage space is an issue, then Apple Maps might be the right choice for you. Number 2, Google Maps is free in the App Store and includes driving, walking, biking, and transit maps for directions in over 220 countries around the world, and they're always adding more. Google allows you to save places on a map, to share or find them later. Just click on the spot you want to save and drop a pin. Then swipe up to save or share the location. If you're planning on traveling to a place where you're not sure if you have service or you're just trying to save your mobile data, you can even download offline maps. Now, even though Apple Maps has gotten better, I think that Google Maps still provides better traffic estimates, and although Google Maps doesn't work with Siri, I use the Google Now widget on my Today screen, and when I want to navigate hands-free, I click the voice search and then say, navigate to the Exploratorium.
Exploratorium is 1 hour and 4 minutes from your location by car in moderate traffic. Here are your directions.
If you're at all concerned about someone being able to track your every move by logging into your Google account, Google Maps might not be for you. If you go to maps.google.com/location history and log in with your account that you use with your phone, you'll see how long Google has been tracking you. And last week, Google released a new feature called Your Timeline that organizes all of this location information into what some might call a walk down memory lane and what others might see as a super easy way to stalk me. And while it's very interesting to see all the places that I've been to since 2009 and it integrates with Google Photos, I still find it a little bit creepy. To be fair, Google says that the information is private and you can delete whatever you want whenever you want. And Google is not the only one tracking you. Apple Maps knows and records where you've been too. Apple just doesn't send this information into the cloud as Google does. To see where you've been according to Apple Maps, go to the Settings app, choose Privacy, then Location Services. Tap System Services and then tap Frequent Locations. Here's where you can turn off the feature if you don't like it. You can also clear your location history. Number 3, Waze. Google bought the navigation app Waze, but they still operate independently of one another. If all you want to know is how to get from one place to another, Google Maps or Apple Maps does the trick. But if you want to drive like you're playing a video game with a constant stream of information regarding everything from traffic jams to hazards, to reported police, to cheap gas prices, to other people using the app around you, then give Waze a try. Waze's directions and alerts are crowdsourced in real time, and by and large, I found them to be pretty accurate. Just by using Waze, Waze is using your location information to update their maps to deliver information to you and to others right that red hot second. You can also actively contribute to reporting road conditions. The more people using Waze around you, the more accurate it's going to be. So if you live in a big city or regularly drive in a place where there are a lot of other people driving and likely to use Waze, and updated traffic information is important to you, Waze might be the best app for you. Waze also lets you share your trip with people so they know when you'll arrive and you don't have to dangerously call or text while driving to say you're on your way. Although I tried this feature recently with a friend who didn't use Waze and she just got a confusing link that she didn't have any idea what to do with. Waze includes all kinds of other weird tricks, like letting you change the voice that directs the navigation. I've got mine set to sound like Arnold Schwarzenegger, which can be both entertaining and frightening.
My mission is to protect you. Come with me if you want to live.
Also, Arnold only knows directions and doesn't even try to say the name of the streets where you need to turn.
Turn right.
To turn your Waze to Arnold or to boy band, Colonel Sanders, or any number of other languages, go to Settings, Sound, then Voice Language. Waze is free in the App Store. This episode of iFive is brought to you by Blue Apron. I don't like to cook. I can cook. I just don't like to. And mostly it's about time. And when I say time, I mean planning ahead to have the ingredients on hand when I'm ready to cook a meal. That's where Blue Apron comes in. Blue Apron makes cooking delicious meals easy and fun by delivering fresh, ready-to-cook meals right to your door. For less than $10 per meal, Blue Apron sends you fresh ingredients, perfectly proportioned, with step-by-step recipe instructions, including beautifully printed pictures, making cooking healthy meals really easy and fun. No trips to the grocery store and no waste from unused ingredients. Cooking takes about a half an hour, shipping is free, and the menus are always new. They won't send the same meal twice. They work around your schedule and dietary preferences, and Blue Apron's experts source only the best seasonal ingredients for incredible meals like cod and miso soba noodles with multicolored cherry tomatoes and eggplant, and crispy eggplant pitas with beluga, lentil salad, and spiced yogurt. Blue Apron, it's the better way to cook. Check out this week's menu and get your first 2 meals free by going to blueapron.com/twit. Number 4 is Scout by Telenav. Now, Scout is a US-only navigation app with a social component that includes chatting, sharing locations with friends, and even lets you configure the app to automatically send your ETA to someone when you're on your way home from work, which is great for old married couples like myself who like to know when their spouse will be there, but it's also great if you're the type who goes out to all kinds of fancy new places with large groups of friends, you know, the opposite of old married couples. Scout lets you create a meetup, add a location and friends, and if your friends also use Scout, you can make it easy for them to find their way to the fancy new bar you just discovered. If your friends don't use Scout, they get a text that won't give you any information unless you download the app first. I'm not a huge fan of apps that use social engineering to get you to force your friends to download, but I can see how Scout's meetup feature could be useful. Scout used to use TomTom for GPS information like Apple Maps, but last year they switched to the crowdsourced mapping company called OpenStreetMap. OpenStreetMap is like Google's map maker tool in that it lets citizen cartographers add to maps, but OpenStreetMap is totally open source. Scout includes the same basic nav app features like voice-guided turn-by-turn navigation. Now, I have to say that I am a fan of Scout's clean interface. It's easier to use than Apple Maps and much less cluttered than Waze. Scout is free in the App Store. Number 5 is the navigation app Here. The Here technology is known as the most advanced digital map of the world's major road networks. This technology is currently owned by Nokia, but last week the Wall Street Journal reported that Nokia was selling its mapping business to a group of German automakers, including Audi, Mercedes-Benz, and BMW, presumably for use in self-driving cars. Now, you can't have safe robot cars unless they have the very best maps out there, right? Now let's presume that you're not a robot. Here's how you can use the Here map when you're driving. Like the others, Here includes turn-by-turn navigation, driving, walking, and public transit directions. Here's standout feature used to be that you could download maps to use without an internet connection, but as I said earlier, other navigation apps do that now too. If you're the type that never goes anywhere without an itinerary and is always planning your next adventure, you might like Here's collection feature that lets you pull together all the places you want to visit along the way. You can create a favorites list of the places you love to go to, create a to-do list for all the places you plan to go to, or create a collection of the best places to go in your neighborhood. I used all 5 apps to find directions to the Exploratorium Museum in San Francisco, and here was the only one that immediately brought up a picture of the location, their phone number, URL, and reviews from TripAdvisor. So here is a great choice for navigation when you're on vacation or visiting tourist sites, or if you're a robot. And that does it for this episode. Thank you for watching. If you have another nav app that you recommend, or if I missed something important about the 5 apps that I did list, email me at megan@twit.tv or iFive@twit.tv. You'll find all the links to download all of these apps at twit.tv/iFive. I'm Megan Maroney. We'll see you next week on iFive for the iPhone.
Bandwidth for iFive for the iPhone is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.